Hi everyone, this is Mariah Hull, and the book that I read is called Lincoln's Melancholy: How Depression Challenged a President and Fueled His Greatness. It's by Joshua Wolf Shank, and it was published in 2005. So, Lincoln's Melancholy is a book about the trials and tribulations our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, faced throughout his life and how he overcame those obstacles to become who he wanted to be. Through reading this book, I learned that Abraham Lincoln fought with chronic depression all his life. There were several things that triggered his depression, or melancholia, as they called it in the 1800s. Early in Abraham's life, he lost a lot of his family members. When he was just 9 years old, his mother died suddenly, and by the time he was 20, he lost his aunt, his uncle, his sister, as well as his baby brother. Now, according to Lincoln's Melancholy, Abraham Lincoln didn't have his first mental breakdown until he was in his mid 20s, and this breakdown came after he lost his good friend Anne Rutledge. After having this mental breakdown, Abraham Lincoln started having thoughts of giving up on his life, but he learned how to cope with his depression through connecting with people through his poetry and using humor. Despite what Abraham Lincoln was going through, he knew that he was destined to do something great and that he was living for a higher purpose. Abraham Lincoln went on to become the President of the United States in 1860, and he abolished slavery in the states that seceded from the United States. I read this entire book, cover to cover, every word on every page. Overall, I really enjoyed reading this book. I learned a lot about Abraham Lincoln that I didn't learn in school, and I felt a connection to him that I didn't have before. We all deal with sadness and depression in our lives, and I really like how the author uh, really humanized Abraham Lincoln and how he showed his humorous side as well as how kind he was. I would recommend this story to anyone who wants to gain a deeper understanding of who Lincoln was. The lesson that I created based off of this book is a lesson where a second grade class would learn who Abraham Lincoln was and the important events that happened in his life. We would do a read aloud of the book I Am Abraham Lincoln by Brad Meltzer, and we would watch a video called Abraham Lincoln for Kids. After learning facts about Abraham Lincoln, I would have my class or my students put together a timeline of Abraham Lincoln's life. My students would write short sentences that describe an important event in Abraham's life, and they would be able to illustrate pictures to go along with it. Thank y'all.